People may ask, why do we take such a comprehensive, patient-centered approach? Because every patient deserves more than just a patch. They deserve a chance to recover.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Eclipse Unscripted. Today we have a very interesting topic for you. Of course, you all know that we live in a country where more than 2/3 of Americans are considered obese or overweight. Of course, diabetes is on the rise as well. And we care about this at Eclipse because the fatter you are, the more likely you are to be on opioids, and that's not a good combination either. But it does cause a lot of pain. The question we're going to answer today is it just being overweight that causes extra pain, all that weight on the structure of your spine and your joints, or is there something else to it? Of course, we're eating more processed foods than ever, and so that could also play a role. To help answer these questions today and many more, we are pleased to be in the presence of a registered dietitian, Katie Lovett. Hello, Katie.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Welcome to the program. So obviously you've been doing this for some time. You own and operate your own business. You've been able to treat probably thousands of people by this point across the state of Texas and beyond, even with your online media. So what is your special niche in the nutrition world?
Yes, so my main focus in nutrition is gut health. And a lot of people may not think gut is significant to anything else, but it's so interconnected in the rest of your body. So if you are struggling with anything, any sort of a chronic condition or symptom, you've got to include the gut, because if you ignore your gut and you just focus on that symptom, your results are going to be really limited no matter how hard you try to go after that pain point.
So what do you mean when you say gut health? I guess you're talking about the intestines?
The entire digestive tract, yep. So everything is connected. You know, our bodies are systems of systems. So one thing affects something else. So you could say, oh, we're just talking about the microbiome in your large intestine, but that's not all the way true, because even how your mouth waters, how you salivate, how you chew your food, that all affects everything else in the digestive tract.
The microbiome referring to the bacteria that live in our mouth, digestive tract, all the way down.
Microbiome and on your skin. We are actually more microbial DNA than we are human DNA, with our entire, like all the organisms that live on and within our body. It's pretty incredible.
An interesting thought, which brings up the concept of mouthwash. That's probably not the best for our digestive tract.
No, and there are some that I do recommend that are more like supplemental, that are meant to help balance the oral microbiome, the organisms living inside of your mouth. But a lot of them just want to kill that bacteria, right? Like there's claims for, I think it's Listerine, right? Where it's like kills 99% of the bacteria in your mouth. And it's not necessarily what you want, because some of those guys are helpful.
Gotcha. So not every bacteria is not a bad bacteria.
Yes,
essentially.
Exactly. Right? So I have young kids, so we talk about our tummy bugs, as I call them, and we have good tummy bugs and bad tummy bugs, right? And so you want to make sure you feed and take care of your good tummy bugs, because they help you to be more healthy.
So in the pain management world, there's this concept of obviously inflammation being a major driver behind several different pain conditions, and this idea of an anti-inflammatory diet. What role does the gut have in reducing or in causing more inflammation in our bodies?
Yeah, so the gut is hugely involved, and really, I love that you guys focus on inflammation in the patients that you're working with, because inflammation is at the core of so many of these chronic conditions that Americans are suffering from these days. But about 80% of our immune system is located within our digestive tract, intersecting with that, getting signals from these little organisms, your good tummy bugs or your bad tummy bugs. How well, your gut lining is protected from the outside world that is your digestive tract. If you think about it, it's like a hollow tube. So the inside of your gut is kind of the outside world. So your immune system in your gut kind of acts like a bodyguard, or the CIA kind of trying to make sure that the right guys get in and the not right guys get out. And so it's on high alert all the time. And so if that gut is not functioning like it should, your immune system gets turned on, right? Basically, and that's what creates that inflammation cascade.
So I used to be very picky about what I used to eat. You know, if it like dropped on the floor for a second, I'd be like, nope, not going to touch it. Right. But then in residency, I had the opportunity to shadow a GI doctor for a little bit, and we did some colonoscopies, and that kind of changed my whole perspective, because it's like once you're caving around in the large colon, you're like, I don't know if it really matters what I eat or not. It's all going to end up right there. But obviously that's not entirely true. So some quick statistics I came across. Apparently more than 90 to 95% of Americans don't eat the recommended number of vegetables in a day. More than 3 out of 4 Americans don't eat a single piece of fruit a day. And I think, we've gone from a society of eating pretty much off the farm, right from the cow, right from the dirt, and now we're more dependent than ever on processed foods, manufacturing. It probably sees 20 different processing plants before it gets to our mouth. Is that playing a role in kind of the conditions that you're seeing in your clinic?
100%. And I don't know what the statistic is around Americans not knowing how to cook anymore, but there's an entire generation of people growing up for losing that vital skill. We look at maybe how the Amish live, or look at how people lived 100 years ago, and you see, I'm reading Little House in the Big Woods to my 9-year-old right now, which is the first book in the Little House on the Prairie series, and it starts out explaining like what the paw did, and he shot the bear, and how they were preparing for the winter. They were drying the meat and curing the meat, and canning, and all, hanging all of the garlic to dry so that they had enough food to survive the winter. That wasn't that long ago that we were doing that, and we have just made this huge switch, to where, like you said, we're living this fast-paced lifestyle, relying on these heavily processed foods. A lot of people, not only are they not eating enough vegetables and fruits, they don't even know what the recommendations are. I meet with people every week where we try and get a baseline understanding. Okay, where are you at? What do you think you're eating? And they'll say, oh, I don't know, how much should I eat? And I say, I'm not going to tell you. Just go track for a few days and pay attention and report back. And, they'll say, oh, maybe 1, 2. I had, 2 the other night with dinner. I did great. Like, what's the recommendation? And I'm like, 5 to 9 cups. And their jaw hits the floor, right? They have no idea what the recommendations even are, or how to make it work into their life, because we're living at such a fast-paced lifestyle.
Right. So what are the common things that you're seeing? Obviously processed foods. How do you overcome something like that, given our options and lack of time, or perceived lack of time, when it comes to meal prep and the hustle and bustle of modern society?
Absolutely. It's a major issue, and it's a major issue in how we're living our lives. And it's not just the processed foods and the types of foods we're eating, it's also how we're eating them. If you think about how we were made to eat, it's all within a community, working together with your family members and your close friends and your neighbors to create this meal. You're eating, you're sitting down, you're enjoying, the fruits of your labor, literally, right? And now most Americans are driving around in their car, shoving stuff into their face as fast as they can before they have to go do, the next thing. Yeah. We're not chewing our food. We're not getting that gut-brain connection. Our guts and our brains are connected via the vagus nerve. And if your brain, is in this rush, hurry mentality, your blood is not focused on being in your gut ready to digest the food. It's in your limbs ready to run, right? Because you're stressed out. So